Hi, Chani. Thank you as always for uploading your pictures and doing it so exactly as we asked, as you usually do. Thank you so much. I will read this little comment that you made for us here. Hi, I'm really enjoying the class and especially for okay, thank you. We appreciate that as well. Okay, and we love giving the feedback as well. I have some questions regarding my photo shoots. I'm very frustrated with how my lighting is coming out. I'm wondering whether it is a result of the type of camera or a result of not placing my subjects in the right light shade, or a result of not using editing software yet other than Picasso. Okay, so let's start in order. Your class 5, okay, light is I'll just preface it by saying light is a very ethereal thing. It's very intangible, not tangible. It's definitely not tangible. And to understand it takes a lot of thinking and experience. Okay, so let's just start with that. How the lighting is coming out. I'm wondering whether it was the type of camera. No, it's not. Depending on what camera do you have, it's not the camera. No. Or a result of not placing. It could be, however, the lens makes a difference, or a result of not placing. And we're assuming that you've got a camera. Let me just see what camera you've got, and I'll tell you anyway. A Nikon D5100 is for sure fine. So it's not the camera. Place my subject in the right light shade. Yes, you are not placing your subjects in the right place. If you feel things are bad, that can be a issue, a very big issue, and just keep going with the course. Unless you do it like I did it, and it took me like years, at least 10 years, 12 years to get to the kind of understanding where I am now, where if you just go with the class, you'll get, hopefully if you keep listening to what I'm saying, you'll get a big jump start over all that time. But placing your subjects in photography is it's just so important. I can't think of how to describe its importance, to give an analogy for how important it is. But it's everything. It's really everything, because everything else fits into that place. So if you don't find a good place, you're fighting an uphill battle the whole time to get decent pictures. Where if you find a really good place, then your job just gets easier. And we obviously want our job to be as easy as possible. So place is just... It's like everything is location. Once you're at a place, now there's a lot of other things doing, but it's the first thing. It really is. And when I say location, don't think it means that, think of a location as a massive park. That's one location. That is not one location. That is thousands of locations, literally thousands of locations. Like in a car park, you can find a teeny little spot sometimes. I've done it many times, like a teeny weeny little spot that's also a little bit disgusting. And from the right angle and with the right thinking and using the right aperture and all the settings that we have available to us, you can take really, really nice pictures. So location means a very small place. So that's going to take you a long time to really master it. But as I said, I'm trying to give you as much as I possibly can. So that's for sure. And using Picasso other than using Lightroom is also a bit limiting, but I'll give you perspective. We ran one of the most successful photography businesses in Israel, editing exclusively on Picasso for many years. The truth is nowadays we actually edit in Lightroom, we still use Picasso quite a lot, but in the old days we used exclusively Picasso, and we built a very respectable business on that, but it does require more skill on behalf of the photographer, and you are very much at a disadvantage by not using Lightroom. You should get involved in Lightroom. Okay, I don't know, I hope that helps. I know I don't have the ability to blur out the background as much as I would like with my current equipment, but is the camera also limited in the quality of the lighting of the picture? So I'm not sure what you mean by that. The quality of the lighting of the picture, the camera. So you're in class 5, so you should have been introduced to ISO. I don't have the ability to blur out the background as much as I would like my current equipment. Is the camera also limited in the quality of the lighting of the picture? The camera is the quality of the lighting of the picture. I'm not understanding exactly what you mean by that. You'd have to show me a picture really to see. So maybe we'll see in your images that you've got, that you've sent in this week. Also, I'm having trouble figuring out where the best where best to place my subjects. Okay, there's a big open part near me with areas of sun and shade, and I can't seem to get it just right. You can see in some of the pictures included here that my subjects are in shade, but it is very sunny behind them. Let's see, PS4, 1 second. Is that a pleasing look, or does that look funny? Let's see, PS4. Yes, that does look funny. That doesn't add to the picture in any way. That's a bad place. That's called a bad place. You're learning in class 5 or class 6 the idea of comparable background. I think we introduced it in class 5. 1 second, but then we go into it in class 6 more. Also class 7. You'll come into it soon. The idea of the background, one of the most important laws of background, is finding a background which is of comparable exposure but of a different colour. We're going to introduce that later. This is not a comparable exposure. You see, it's overexposed. It's grossly overexposed because there's sunlight here and your subjects are in shade. So let me just get back. Just got interrupted there for a second. There's a big part near me, open with sunset. Like we went through this. Don't worry. Just stay with the program. Keep thinking. Listen to what I'm saying. Asking questions, just like you're doing, which is excellent. And the truth is, I'm very frustrated. Frustration is a very helpful tool for growth. Okay, there's very little growth without frustration. So enjoy the frustration and know that it's part of the growth. And please God, we're going to help you. Keep growing, understanding what's going. Let's jump in now. I'm going to give you slightly more time now because we took a lot of time with that question. Okay, so I'm just looking at this now. Let's just look at the numbers. So all the numbers have changed, okay? So that's good. Okay, B'ezrat Hashem. Now, the difference here, though, looks like we've got a slightly different exposure, okay? So I'm assuming, it also looks like you're using natural light, so I'm assuming that that there's going to be a little mistake here somewhere, okay? But maybe I shouldn't even assume anything. Let's just see. Let's start. Okay, I do this with everybody, and it's an important thing to do. And this is like as hard as photography gets. When you put flash into the equation, it gets a little more complicated. It does get complicated, but you can still do it. We're thinking about we're going to be putting out our flash course quite soon. Okay, so let's start. So we're doing 1 over 250, and at f8 at 6400 ISO. Okay, now your next picture is at, just bring back my little thing. Your next picture now is at a 1/60th. The stats are all over here. 1/60th of a second at f5.6 at 800 ISO, and your final one is, let's see, bring back my pad, a 1/8 of a second at f11 at 400 ISO. Okay, so let's work this out. So from a 250 to a 60, I'm not going to spend too long doing this. I'm just going to do it. You'll work it out if you don't understand later. 1/250th to a 1/60th is adding 2 stops. It goes 1/125th, 160. So that's plus 2. And then we have from f8 to 5.6 is plus 1. And then we have from 6400 to 800 is 3200, 1600, 800 is, as they say here, -3 or -3. Okay, good, excellent, that's perfect. So now the next one, let's see. So from a 60th to an 8th is 30th, a 15th, 1/8. That's +3. And then 5.6 to f11 is, you've done it, excellent, you've done really well, -1. And then the last one is also, wait 1 second, -1, no, -2, excuse me, -2. And then the last one from 800 to 400, from here to here, is -1. And +3 -2 plus -1 equals 0. Again, correct exposure. Excellent. That means I officially crown you as the person who did this homework the best, because you also, actually the truth is one girl also did it with a fan as well one time, which I appreciated very much. But this was excellent, it's a great idea, and I also appreciate how you actually made a nice composition. So I still crown you as the person who did this homework the best so far in the history of Zero to Pro. Okay, well done. Pat on the back. Now look at the difference. Excellent. So we've got, it's interesting because the thing is moving around in this direction and this is spinning itself. So it gets a little more complicated, but we can see obviously the speed is changing. This is a much longer shot, obviously, and this is a much quicker shot. And then what about depth of field? Do we see depth of field? So you can see here it's sharper. That's 5.6. No, we don't really see the depth of field so well. I suppose with the flowers a bit. Anyway, the question now remains is why are these a different exposure? So I'll tell you what it could be. It could be, okay, I don't believe that it's lit by a electric light. If it was lit by an electric light, like we learned in the beginning, it could be that as it flickers, it gave you a slightly different light. I believe it was lit by a window, which means natural light from the sun. But I would think that there was some kind of difference in cloud cover at the time, and the light wasn't always the same coming into that window. That's my thoughts. I saw that over here because that's got, you can see like the blue sky, and then it looks a little bit like it just looks like it could be there could be clouds in that kind of sky, how it is. And I'm assuming also in the States, it's, you know, generally there's clouds as well floating around, unlike in Israel. So excellent, very good one on that. Okay, let's jump into your pictures for the week. Let's just look through. Good. Okay, this is my favourite one out of all those pictures. So there's what to learn here. There's what to learn. There's a lot of good things going on. You've been very confident with your cropping in. You're getting sensitive to the concept of space, which is great. Not getting, you've gotten sensitive to the concept of space. You're aware of shape and directions. And there's a few things I'm going to go through now. The differences here. So there's a few issues. She's a little bit underexposed. The light here is flat. It's acceptable light. It's fine. This has no graphical value. Okay, 0. It's nothing. Although it's not like a cement-like thing, which is ugly. It's completely 0. It's of a nothing color, of a nothing exposure, of a nothing texture with no pattern. It's worth nothing. So that's one of the reasons, probably the main reason, why your image just like goes wow. All of the energy just flows out from this boring. It's like the difference between eating sherbet, which would be something like, this would be more comparable to like a tangy kind of exciting food, and this is like I don't know, because I never eat foods like this, but something like, I don't know, something very kind of not tasty. Anyway, amazing 2018. We don't know about what not tasty foods are. Okay, so that's a big problem here, which could be very easily remedied by just finding a new location. She's leaning against it, which is it's a nice place for her to lean. She should be tilted, or she looks tilted as much as you can. You should be flatter towards the wall to minimize her width. We're constantly posing women more of an angle, so that's just something to bear in mind as well. Her arms being folded is nice, creates a lovely triangle there. Okay, there's nice quality to it, but like I said, the reason why this picture, like, it looks like it should have such an energy, and it doesn't, is because of this. Just because of this. You could take it out in Photoshop and put a sunset in the background, it would change everything. The fact that her shirt is a teeny bit cut off over there also doesn't add anything to the picture. Okay, this is a much better shot. We've got 2 levels of, I know it's making me think whether it was in America at all. Once I said it was in America, it looks like Israel here. Anyway, who knows? So we've got the a lighter. We've got a lot of light in the background, not as much in the foreground. There's also dappled light here, but dappled light on clothes is not a problem. If those splodges of light fell on her face, that would be an issue. The light on her face is nice. It's fine. It's actually like diffused direct sunlight, like slightly diffused. That's why you've got a hard shadow under her nose here. Yeah. So the lights. Oh wait, 1 second. No, sorry, that's completely wrong. That was a lie what I just said. That shadow is coming from her cheek. You see, because the light's coming from above, from this direction. Yeah, obviously. You've got this. The light is nice. The light is nice. It's kind of bouncy. It's got a lot of life to it. She's posed. Okay, it's kind of a boring pose, but there's nothing wrong with it. If she turned maybe a little bit closer and maybe pulled her arms in, it would give some kind of more movement around the picture as opposed to just kind of like a static out that you have here. Your eye just falls down. But again, you've cropped in close. You're demonstrating your sensibilities to the space surrounding the image. The background here, you're class 5, like we said, so you're going to learn about the rule of background. It should be comparable exposure, different color. That wasn't adhered to over here. Let's keep moving forward. Okay, a nice shot. I wouldn't do this. Now we've got the backgrounds a little better. One of the things that's really holding you back is your lens. This lens really is not doing it any justice, and I think the Nikon as well. Just I'm going to say something against Nikon. I'm sorry if anybody else is listening as well. I apologize for my racism, but in my opinion, the Canon is just punchier than the Nikon, and I think I'm personally I can tell the difference between a Canon image and a Nikon image almost immediately. Definitely from camera, with even with processing, sometimes I can as well, but less so. But the Canon images are just more. They just seem to be, to me, more punchy and a little more vibrant. These are a little more natural and like toned down. So that also takes away a little bit in my experience. We could bring out the eyes a little bit further. It's not this hand here is really a big problem. It would be better if it wasn't there at all, or if it came all the way around, like really and hugged her in kind of thing. But that hand there actually is just a distracting element from the face. You understand? So it's just pulling away our attention. Okay. Okay. Again, we spoke about this picture already. The background's the issue here. Another issue here is the hands. Okay. I love how this is beautiful being turned in. Yeah, that works really well. I feel like I've seen this picture before and I've commented on it before as well. I'm pretty sure I have. So you can check to see if I'm being congruent with what I said. Congruent. Their arms bringing in takes us in. These hands don't work. That is a problem. That is a perfect example of a of an actual bang. There's an actual bang. Let me just do it. I always do it so badly the first time. I'm going to try and get better at that. That is a bang. You with me? Your eye moves around like this, and that's a perfect example of a bang where you can't cut the hands off. If you were to darken it, you could do that, but I think it'd be better maybe even if he kind of folded his arms or held them kind of like that on his chest. 1 second. Okay, and now this is my favorite picture. There's a lot of dynamic movement because she's turned so nicely. She takes up a lot of less space, which is nice. Her beautiful face with the eyes are a little bit underlit. We can brighten the eyes up, and it could also do with a little vignetting and a little brightening. I think we're going to take this one into post, but you nailed the direction. That is a very important thing because everything that I'm teaching now can really be like understood very easily. The idea of feeling the sensitivities is something that can be given over a bit, but it really takes like an intuition, which you have. Okay, Baruch Hashem. So you'll go with that. We've got movement coming this way, which means we've got just very much a very kind of nice movement, gentle movement to this direction. We end up with a strong triangle. That's me doing it a little bit better consciously. Okay, beautiful. That's really a lovely shot. Let's take this one into Lightroom. Import, double click and get into develop. Okay, so I think the first thing I want to do is just brighten up her face a little bit. I didn't even look what it was at, but it seems to be at the right thing. Yeah, I just want to maybe put a little bit further. Just to, there we go. And I'm going to also put the clarity a little bit. Just there we go. Just to give it that little edge. And now I want to, for sure, brighten her eyes. So I'm going to create a new pin. Go to Iris Enhance. Just give it a little polish, so to speak. Someone once said to me, if God's so good at making like stuff look amazing, how comes Lightroom can make your images so much better? And I said to him, well, who designed Lightroom? 1 second. Let me erase now. I just want to erase this little bit over here. Over here. Good. Press space, click again. Okay, very subtle. And I think I want to just put in a slight vignette as well. This background here isn't the best, but it's not bad. Oh, the one thing I didn't really speak about was your stats. That's terrible. I'm going to get back to the stats in a second. Completely forgot about that. Okay, and I'd probably leave this something like that. There you go. It's a nice improvement. Remember, you want that punch. That punch comes from post. You have to be putting time into post, 100%. Let me just look back at your stats, okay? And I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. Wow. Chani, that's amazing. I'm going to ask you a question. All these stats are... So what are you shooting on? Manual. Excellent. So all of these stats are good, bad, or perfect. Let's look. 200, 5.6, 320, that's your first picture. This one's the same. Your ISO changed a little bit. Here you gave a little bit more ISO. Took away a bit of ISO. Okay, the answer to that question is all of your pictures, the stats are perfect. That is impressive. You've kept at a 1/200th of a second. You're at your widest aperture, which I know is annoying because it's because of your lens. You have to go out and buy a new lens for sure. You would love getting a new camera, but you need to go out and buy a new lens. Get the 50mm 1.8 or whatever. I think there's a 50mm 1.8 for Nikon. I know Canon back to front, inside out, and I know Nikon not even close to that. So if you were to buy a new camera, I would recommend getting a Canon just because that's all I know. And the only one real fact that I know of between Canon and Nikon is that Canon is more popular than Nikon. Canon sell more cameras than Nikon sell. Okay, I don't know if that's professional or amateur as well, whatever it is, but that's just what I know. Okay, in conclusion, we went on a little long today because of the question that you asked, which I would have answered if you had asked in a different way. That's the reason. You're doing excellently. This is great. The foundations are in place. Take deep what I said this week and go out and do it again. And I bet we're going to see a huge improvement. And keep enjoying it. Okay, well done. Oh, and well done for the Blender pictures. Those were, like I said, pat on the back. Okay, all the best.